Okay, I guess I'm up here. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes and see what's happening. Give people a chance to show up and see if I can. Stormy night. Hello, Lady Blind Wolf. I don't know why. Oh, here we go. Now I can see you guys. Okay. Raven Sand Moon. Lindy. Hi guys. Um, okay, I don't need this. That's weird. I had my iPad set up in case I wasn't going to be able to see the chat, but it did come up. Um, so this isn't quite the live everybody was expecting. Yeah, real life happens, and unfortunately, Ashley couldn't join me today. She's fine. Everything with her is good, but mundane things happen. Emergencies happen sometimes. So we're actually going to reschedule the live to talk about working with angels. I hope you guys can hear me and everything. But I didn't want to just pop up and be like, sorry. So I decided I would come on and kind of chat with whomever showed up for a little bit anyway. And I've been actually racking my brain for the past couple hours trying to figure out what I would talk about, because obviously I don't want to talk about working with angels because I'm going to be discussing that with Ashley. So I don't know. I guess we could just chat about what I don't really want to talk about. Themes that are running through the community right now either. Like, everybody's been discussing community in the community, and I'm not really wanting to talk about that either because my video Friday is going to be my take on that. Nothing controversial, but so Mooncrone's Cottage, hello. Oh, Melissa Boker. I'm terrible with name pronunciation, so I thought maybe we just talk about spells, spellcrafting, and stuff like that. Working our magic a little bit, if that's okay with everybody who's in the chat. Because I don't know what else do witches talk about, and because honestly, I've been working a lot of spells lately, so it's something that's kind of fresh on my mind. Oh, okay. Um, who was it that asked me what I did today? A moderator for the chat. I guess we're trolls. Actually, Erica and I discussed that earlier. Erica from Raw Spirit. But I'm so technologically disadvantaged. I'm like, I don't even. How do you do that? Like, I don't even know how to do that. So, I suppose if a troll shows up, I'll just ignore them. I don't know. Somebody asked what. Oh, Stormy Night. What did you do today? I didn't have an exciting day today. I worked in my garden, basically, like deadheading and stuff, but I did spell work yesterday, and I did come up with the theme of a spell I'm going to be doing on I think it's the 31st of July. The She Moon is coming, which, in case anybody doesn't know, she as in like, oh gosh, I don't know, there's a D in there, SHIDE, or I don't off the top of my head, I can't remember how to spell it. But anyway, so like the blue moon, there's 2 full moons in a month period. With the she moon, there's going to be 2 new moons in a 1 month period. And so I think it falls on the 31st. I don't know. I don't have my book, so I can't look. But I'm going to be working another spell that really needs to be done then. And I kind of got that banged out in my mind. This is why spellcraft is kind of what came into my mind, because it's something that I have been messing with quite a bit and it's been playing on my mind lately. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Hold on, I can look and I'll tell you exactly how to spell it. I can't remember when it is, because that is in my planner, which is in the living room, and I don't want to leave y'all in running. It's Sidhe is how it's spelled. Sidhe. It's the second new moon in a solar month, and it creates added psychic energy and otherworldly influence and connection. But I wanted to give the spell I'm getting to do an extra whammy. Somebody mentioned something about a road opener not long ago either. I always find that because I guess it depends on if you're talking about a specific tradition. I find that I don't maybe necessarily understand. Like there's Blockbuster and there's Road Opener. I guess these are hoodoo things. I don't know. I have like an open doors oil is what I call it because it's for like creating opportunity and like change and doing so quickly. But I've never actually like I don't know these terms, like I don't know exactly what is supposed to be created by Road Opener. If I just take it at face value, it seems to me like it would be very much like my open doors kind of deal, but I'm not sure. Yeah, SIDAG. Yeah. It's a weird word. Um, so can someone enlighten me? What's the difference? I've watched a video on it even, but I don't remember. What's the difference between Road Opener and Blockbuster? Because I think Road Opener didn't mean what I thought it did, but I'd never actually done one, a working with it, so I didn't know. Yeah, that makes sense too. It always goes back to our intent. I mean, that's with anything. But has anybody been cooking up any spells lately? Um, a lot of my most recent spells have been for other people. They haven't actually been for myself. So I'm not really going to talk about what the specifics of those were. The one that's coming up is it's not something I've discussed much on my channel, but we have close relatives in our extended family who are literally hell-bent on converting us to Christianity, if not Catholicism. And it's getting ugly. And so my working is headed in that way. Like we've already done workings for this, but like it hasn't stopped. So I'm continuing. Any advice, anyone? Whoa. Both roads spiritually and physically and for new opportunities. That Raven, that sounds awesome. You got Ash from Mount St. Helens. I swear those really. Yeah. Blockbusters. Wait, Blockbusters, a block in the open roads is new opportunities. Okay. Hey, Lily Pad. Okay. And then I think my open doors oil would do both. It's a mixture of both then, I guess. I don't know that any ingredients correspond at all. I just put in what I'm called to put in or whatever. But yeah. So that's the next spell I'm working on is a spell. It's actually I'll be using in part a narcissist spell that I actually got from Tarot with Tasha. I used that before on a different family member. And I'm going to be tweaking that and mingling that with this other piece of working that I'm going to be doing. It actually feels really good. It feels like it's going to be really powerful. So have any of you had any? It's such a weird thing. I think it's normal for people to try to convert you. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Crafting spells. Converting her hubby. I may have to do a gossip stop. And not that my husband makes some really cool gossip stop candles, which we could use in there. Um, Not that there's gossip per se, but obviously they have no concept of what it is that we believe. Like the whole event started because we had uh, I see that Santa Morte, we have that and other things. And it was assumed that that was like devil worship. And that's how the whole thing started. Like, of course, no questions were asked. And then by the time the questions were asked, we were like, we don't want to discuss this with you because you're just going to pick everything apart. And like, because you've basically told us that, we're being deceived by the devil and our faith is akin to drug addiction and suicide and blah, 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 blah. So it's not cool. What am I missing? I don't understand the stupid speak to text. Oh, because you were okay. I got it. I got it. um, I wrote down a couple of notes. Obviously, I wrote down notes for my live with Ashley, but just stuff to talk about while I was here. Because again, like I said, I didn't want to promise y'all a live and then not deliver, even though I don't plan on being up here forever. I just, have a little chat, hang out for a bit. Um, so as I was thinking about spellcrafts, I was wondering, like, we all know that, your intent and the energy that you put into your spell work is like the most integral part of it or whatever. But like when I want to get down and dirty and do spellcraft real quick, I was just thinking about what I need, like, because obviously I don't need anything, but at the very least, I'm going to use a candle. Like, so I think candle magic is probably the most central part of my craft, really. Because like normally, I'll work with herbs and crystals and, whatever I want to really. But like if I just have to quickly do something, I just see even a birthday candle, just grabbing a candle real quick. So it just was an intriguing thought to me to think about, like, stripped down to its most base. Like if I'm not thinking about where the planets are or whatever, I just have to do something really quick and I only have a minute or limited supplies. What am I going to go for? And candle, even though I'm a crystal witch and a herb witch, 100%, candle was still the first thing that popped into my brain. Even if it's just a little white birthday candle, like I'm going to go to that candle. So I was wondering what you guys like, what's the one thing that seems to be like, if you were in most urgent need or just like the most basic part of your craft. Shut their mouths. Yeah, it would be nice if my family would just shut their mouths. That's part of my spell that I'm going to do. Um, let me grab it real quick. This little guy is going to help me. He used to be a candle, but we decided to make a mold so we can make our own beeswax candles. And so, I mean, he still has a little wick, but I had not intended to use him as a candle anymore. I'm going to do stuff with him. Nothing nasty, but just, I'm going to open his eyes, shut his mouth, fill his brain with lovely thoughts. I'm going to do things to him and work it out. Oh, incense. Yes. Candles and incense. It's funny. Yeah. Because I think, if like I said, if I can only pick one thing, it's probably going to be candles. But of course, I want to add all the other. Like I almost always have crystals and herbs in my workings too. But like I said, I was just thinking about things to talk about, and then it took me down this thought process. A mind your own beeswax spell. Oh, and I only work with beeswax for my own personal. I kind of love that. I might have to do something with that. Thank you. That's lovely. Wait, I need to see the back of your hair. It looks terrible. It looks terrible, you guys. Like, I used to like my hair was always straight. This is my hair. This is just me like out of the shower and just throw some texture gel in it because I'm too lazy to like heat style it all straight and nice. Um, so yeah, this is what Drew's hair does. Just can't even care. Aw, thank you, honey. Strings, ropes. High Whale Song, 81. Have a winner. Sorry, I know I'm not talking. I can't talk and read at the same time. At least I can't talk and comprehend what I'm reading at the same time. Everybody's just saying hi. So yeah, just this is what it does. But yeah, so herbs, candles, and crystals. And when I say herbs, I'm talking about like my dirts too. I have graveyard dirt and magnetic sand and whatever in there too. That was another thing I thought of. So there's all kinds of school. Everybody has their own how they do their magic and what that looks like and what it should be or what works for them, really. And so I was wondering about this idea of, once you cast a spell, you put it out of your mind and you don't think about it anymore. Is that something that's realistic for anyone in the chat? For me, I find, sorry, setting down my iPad. I find that sometimes I can. Sometimes I totally forget about it. It's done. Especially if it's for somebody else because I don't have any, I'm not tied to it in any way. I don't have any, but sometimes I can't help but revisit it. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, especially if I'm feeding like my intent into it, each time I think of it, rather than sort of detracting from it. Of course, if I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going to work, it's not going to work out, that's not good. But I was just wondering how many people can actually put the spell out of mind completely and move on. Excuse me. I mean, I can do that sometimes, but make us, yeah. Oh, I think that's true for everybody, Stormy Night, for most of us, that once we start actively practicing the craft, we realize we were doing it all along. We just didn't know we were doing. People do witchy things all the time and they have no idea that they're doing it. I am not going to try to pronounce your name. But hi, welcome to the chat because I will murder it. I'm not gonna murder your beautiful name, the name of your account. Oh my God, everything is going so fast. I didn't expect all of you to show up. Hi, Erica. For anybody who just got here, Ashley's not here. She had an emergency come up and she's fine. Everybody's fine. But, mundane things sometimes take priority. We're going to reschedule and do our live another time. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. But I didn't want to just be like, oh, sorry, guys. So I decided I would just hang out for a little while and talk to y'all since you were kind enough to show up. Raven, you're talking about the eclipse. I was all messed up. I was really messed up, which it was a feminine thing happening, but like it was really bad. The energy messed with me bad. It didn't even occur to me. Then my husband's like, the eclipse. And I'm like, oh. But I did manage to do a working for a friend and I felt like the energy lent itself. I was more messed up the day before than the day of. Trying to catch up on the chat. Oh, candles. Okay. Yeah, no, Ashley's fine. Everything's good. It's just real life emergency popped up and she had to take care of that and that was priority. So it's fine. Tawanyuna? Tawa Twanyuna. Oh, I don't know, honey. But it's beautiful, but, like, yeah. This is why sometimes I don't wanna say people's names or the names of their channels because, like, out of respect for your beautiful name that you were either given or you chose yourself, I do not wanna murder it. Much about I was talking about this earlier with some friends, and you'll know who you are if you're in here. I have a spell I wanna do, that I wanna feed. Normally, I don't feed spells, but every once in a while, especially if it's, like, dealing with prosperity, and I have one. Is that light annoying? I'm sorry, guys. Um, I wanna do a prosperity for the community in general, and it's gonna be one that I'm gonna be feeding at least once a month. So that's an interesting, um hi, Tara. Oh, thank you. I was just talking about how this is lazy. This is just I don't care. Um, that's really interesting. The also, I think it depends on how you did it. Like with magic alone or with the help of an entity. Um, that's another question. So how many of you work with entities? I mean, obviously the topic for this video is going to be angels. And again, we will do that video. So I'm not going to get too into that, but obviously I work with angels in my magic. But I think my go-to is always ancestors first when it comes to magic. And then after that, I know a lot of people would probably go deity first, but I've done very little magic with deity, actually. I usually just do like spiritual work with deity. So what about you guys? I wonder, do you work is it exclusively like your own energy and manipulating energy, or do you call in other energies or entities or what have you to help you in your workings? And Aphrodite. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a time when I specifically worked intently with deity and magic. I think Nethalis. Trying to remember an Egyptian dark goddess years and years ago for a group ritual. And I don't, I can't think of Mercury, a protection spell. That was actually really recently. Animals, plants, and trees. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I don't think you need to call on anybody for magic. I don't think that's a necessity. Um, I originally didn't at all. I find I don't know. I find there's this energetic shift that happens when I call in the ancestors for a working, and I'm really comfortable in that space. I really like it. It feels good. Um, and with angels, again, I don't want to talk too much about it because me and Ashley will be talking about it. But with that, I'm not usually. It's usually outside of actual like spell craft that I'm actively working with them. Not always, but usually. Wow, Linda, you got a big list. I don't. Well, yeah, obviously, I have called in elemental energy um, and spellcrafting. I haven't really called in necessarily devic energy, I guess is where my brain was going with that. Mm, I'm all about standing in your own power and doing your own stuff. It's just nice sometimes to have a little backup. Or again, typically, if I'm going to call somebody else in, the ancestors is very vague. But outside of that, like if I were going to call in a deity, for instance, it would be because they would bring a specific energy to what it was I was doing to enhance and to sort of guide it that way. Or, it, for me, these kind of things it makes it like there's a current that it can follow easier because that's the energy that's set up for it, if that makes sense. I don't know. Oh, and then I was wondering if anybody had any examples of using components in a less than conventional way. And I think this is hard because you can use anything any way you want to. But I just remember a long time ago now, Azrael Angel of Melancholy. If any of you know who that is, he is a brother witch here on YouTube. He talked about using lodestone is like my go-to, my top stone when it comes to working magic, doing spells. Excuse me, I apologize. And he talked about using it for the reverse instead of attraction, for repelling, because there's magnetic properties there. And like, as obvious as that is, my little brain box was just kind of blown open in that moment. I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I started to look at lodestone differently. And so I was wondering if any of you had anything like that, where maybe you use it for like even the opposite of what everybody else says it's for, and you have success with that. Because I really like pushing the limit. I really like doing things differently. I like to walk my own path and find that. I mean, you guys, any of you have watched me, like for instance, I work with terracotta dust. That's because I was just in one of those states of mind where I was like, what can I find around me that I don't know how to use in my magic at this moment, and figure out how to use it. And there was a broken terracotta pot, and I was like, how can I use this in my magic? And so I just looked into like the actual proper, like what makes it, and like it has a high iron content, for example, and the composition of the material and where it came from and whatever, and figured out how I could use that in my magic. Or like feathers, the same thing. I'd looked into the mythology of the birds and stuff. So I just like to think outside the box like that. And I was wondering if any of you had any examples of that you would like to share. Of course, if you don't want to, that's fine too, because I will steal it if it's awesome. I'm trying to catch up on the chat, guys. What are we talking about now? I missed something. Are we talking about like, I missed something somewhere. Okay. I don't know what I missed. Okay. I love lodestone. It's one of my favorite. Like I said, it's my go-to one. Again, I don't have any of that information written down. Well, I do have it written down somewhere as far as the terracotta goes. I do know it just has a really high iron content. So of course it would be really good for protection. But I remember, based on what it's made up of and where it comes from and how it was created and whatnot, that my terracotta, the properties that I associate with it are protection, defensive magic, grounding, change, growth, and money. And again, I don't have that in my grimoire. Like I have it jotted in some random note somewhere of like all what it's made up of and how it was named and where it was, what part of the world it was created in, whatever. It's clay. Terracotta is clay. It literally translates to earth baked clay or baked earth. It literally translates to baked earth. It's obviously not as strong as brick. So, that comes into account when you're talking about the properties and stuff, but, I can grind terracotta up in my mortar and pestle, and I just love using it in my magic. I find change is something that it really seems to energetically, resonate with personally. You can absolutely use it like brick powder, and I do. I make this stuff called doorstop dust, and a large component of that is terracotta dust. Oh, hey Karen. Oh, Gabrielle Marie Kingsley. If anybody else joined and I didn't notice, I did notice. If I didn't say your name, it's because I didn't want to murder it for one. Um, See, like your name is so pretty, and and like every time somebody subscribes to me and I get a notification, I say the name and I say thank you, and I'm always like, I know I'm murdering it. And every time I go to do like a giveaway, I'm like, please don't let me choose a name that I can't say. Although I have, and I'll just show it. I just like, I'm not trying to murder y'all's names because I don't know. I feel disrespectful when I can't pronounce somebody's name properly. I don't think that sounds odd at all, Karen. That's actually really cool. Um, I never thought about that, but like obviously I mean, using something from a dead end to end something that makes complete sense to me. See, people agree with me. In voodoo, they use it as floor wash for protection. They use what for floor wash? What did I miss? Are we talking about terracotta dust? Warrior energy. Brick powder. I see. I've only known it as like for protection or whatever. I didn't know they used it that way. I don't know much about other people's traditions. I genuinely don't study them very deeply. Um, I think they're really fascinating, but I'm just not really drawn to them, so I don't usually know a whole lot. Um, the other thing I thought that we could touch on, if you wanted to, was consumerism. This is kind of a sticky subject, so oh, yeah, I see that the statues in China. Uh, okay, so I guess I'm gonna move into that topic. I I am a consumer. I consume. I consume things within and without the community, paganism. Um, and I don't feel guilty about it, if I'm honest. I would like I am striving. I'm always trying to get to a place where I make better decisions, or like for instance, like every year I plant more stuff in my yard so that I don't have to buy it from anybody else, my herbs and stuff. Vegetables, fruit, whatever. Like I'm always striving to do better. But I've been having this conversation with some of my witchy sisters, and I find that people in this community can sometimes feel guilty about consuming. And I think we were talking about places like Walmart and Amazon, um, and I pointed out that, for instance, Brittany from Palm Tree Bewitchery, part of the reason why she has such a beautiful home right now is because she works at Walmart. And that my husband was going to be a driver for Amazon, and like they would have been paying our bills. Like that you can take issue with certain things, but like we do have this larger economy, and there are lots of people um, who benefit from these systems and need jobs and whatever, even if it isn't the best job in the world. Hopefully conditions can continue to become better, and we can do things about that as consumers and as part of the whole circle. But in general, I don't know how to put it. For the most part, I don't feel guilty about being a consumer at all. Um, Again, I think I can feel that way because I am ultimately striving to be a better consumer than I am at present. I'm always trying to do better. Um, Look into plants, for instance, that are endangered, or try to figure out if what I'm buying, where it's coming from, is if it is ethical or what have you. That's another one that I've had a discussion with my witchy sisters about. I have a hard time with the whole crystals, the whole crystals controversy. I am a crystal witch, and just like my plants are part of my family, my crystals are too. My crystals aren't just rocks at all. Like, they have personalities and stuff. Like, I don't know. Um, and my dog. After we purchased our dog, really looking at her condition and thinking about all the circumstances, we realized she might have been from a puppy mill. But I love my dog, and I don't want to support puppy mills at all. But my poor dog didn't do anything wrong. So I have this, I go back and forth with this. And this, I compare, this is a comparison to the crystals. Like, they might have been mined in a bad way. And I don't want to support that at all. But at the same time, like, the crystal didn't do anything wrong. So I have this struggle personally when it comes to this type of consumerism. This knowing exactly where everything came from and the conditions, and especially since my personal path is one where I lay everything in the hands of spirit, and that's a way to avoid personal responsibility, and that's not what I want to do. That's why I struggle with it, because it's like, if it comes into my hands, ultimately spirit meant it to, and it's for the highest good. But does that alleviate me from my responsibility as a good person and a good pagan, with how I consume and where things come from? I feel like I'm talking to myself right now because I'm not keeping up with the chat at all. And this is the point that I made to my witchy sisters I was discussing this with at the time. I think that each of us has to decide for ourselves what it means for us to be a good pagan, or be a good person, be a good custodian of the earth, whatever that is, and what that looks like. And we have to pick and choose our battles, because we cannot. If I really wanted to be perfect in those ways, like, my life would be very difficult, if I'm honest. It would be really hard, because I would be very, very, very limited on everything that I consume and what that looks like. So I think it's important for each of us to pick and choose our battles, and to be advocates in our own way for, what our cause, as it were, and to do the best we can in that given situation. Because I just think it's too hard to just try to be, in my mind, what the perfect pagan would be, it would be too difficult to survive in the real world, in the society we live in today, personally. Right. We've also been having this huge discussion about supporting each other and ourselves in this community, and what that looks like and how we can do that. There's this weird energy going around. I agree with the statement that they're not going to stop doing it. Like I said with my dog, like I'm really glad I have my dog, and even though I don't know, she may have come from a puppy mill, and that's horrible, but she's a beautiful dog and she has a good home, and I'm glad I could give that to her. And so I kind of feel that way about anything to varying degrees, really. Just using technology. It could be, yeah. Um, like I said, I think we each have to strive to do our best in our little corner of the world, whatever that looks like. Like, not trying to promote my own business, but I do have a small witchy business, and we used a lot of plastic. Our like packaging is plastic. So all this plastic, plastic, plastic. I'm feeling like a horrible pagan, if I'm honest. So I finally decided and just started getting these wax wax paper bags. So as much as our product as we can put in wax paper bags, and then our labels, I switched them to these. They're water soluble. They're supposed to be for like canning. They're not as pretty. It doesn't look as good, but I feel better about it. Then like it's a slow process because you have to buy all the repackaging, like it's gonna take me a while to like redo everything. But that's what I mean, like these little decisions, like do I really want to be putting all this plastic out into the world? Like how does that it made me feel really bad. It's the same my mother-in-law got us a composter, and I'm so grateful for that because I legitimately felt terrible every time like cut the top off of a tomato or peeled a banana and threw it in the trash. It's like I can be doing something really good with this. Like it just felt so wasteful, and it didn't I didn't feel like I was being my best pagan, my best custodian of this earth um in doing so. So like I said, I think that looks different and feels different for everybody, and we each have to do our own thing. And hopefully we do so in a loving and respectful way, because like I don't need everybody else to do exactly what I'm doing and feel the way about it I do. And hopefully I think the majority of us feel that way. It's like that's your best pagan, your best witch, your best person looks like that. And that's okay, even though it doesn't look the same. And I've never done a live like this before. It's really weird to kind of carry on a conversation by yourself. I've always done a live with someone else, a co-host. Aw, thank you, Creative Coffee. I genuinely don't think it looks as professional as it did, but I just don't even care. I just if it makes a smaller impact on the environment, that's what makes me really happy about it. Crystals, crystals. I'm always gonna give a crystal a good home if it comes my way. Like, I'm not necessarily gonna go out and buy every crystal, but, like, y'all know I have crystals. I used to work in a crystal shop and used to go to gem and mineral shows. I got crystals, and I don't feel guilty about it. Um, because the crystals, again, they're more than rocks. Like, there's a lot going on there. So, but I do understand the conflict, and I see it. And I know that there are some bad practices, and it's not okay. And I don't want to participate in that. So it's like it's difficult for me to navigate. You eat the top of tomatoes. That's cool. It's not wasted that way. I don't know. I guess maybe I learned it from my mother. I don't know. I just always cut the top off of the tomatoes. Well, now I don't have to worry about it. I throw them in my compost. It's fine. And not to mention this topic of being a good pagan, being your best pagan or person, whatever. Like not to mention, like, we have real lives, like, we have job, I don't, but, you work a 9 to 5 job or whatever outside the home, like, convenience is in the way that society is set up too, like, it's not like I said, it would be very difficult to what I see in my mind as perfect pagan, to live that life in this day and age. How is that my fault? I haven't even done a crystal video in a very long time. Karen is blaming me for her crystal addiction. I'm just listening to pennies make dollars. Absolutely. Exactly. I have a symbiotic relationship with crystals. Like, it's not like they're family. Like that. For me, they live. They don't live the way I live, but they live. And like spirit is definitely moving through them. And they carry energy signatures. And like I've done like I'm not even, the whole crystalline structure and blah, blah. I'm not gonna get into all that. But like they're amazing. How many rules, so to speak, on what makes a real ethic. Well, see, I'm not here to judge, again, just in my mind, how I see I would have to live in order to be like, "Yes, I am the best pagan I can be." Absolutely. Like, I would just it couldn't have like, "I'm drinking a Coke out of a plastic." No. And yes, I recycle, but, like, all the waste, I even though I try to be mindful, like, I always watch when people do those experiments where they tie their trash to themselves for a week or whatever. I don't want to. Like, I don't wanna even, like, I wanna use bamboo toothbrushes, but even then, because like I've stopped buying toothpaste. I make my own toothpaste, so I'm not like deodorant. I tried to make my own deodorant so I wouldn't be using that plastic thing all the time, and it broke me out in rashes. I can't use it. I loved it, so I had to go back to using. It's all the plastic, if nothing else, that is in my life. My glasses are half plastic, half metal. Like just and then honestly, I try to do better, but there are a lot of times where I'm like, "Oh, this is not as good as it used to be. Let me get a new one." Whereas like, really, like I know for me personally, there are tons of things I could do to be a better pagan. And I just try to do one baby step at a time in the right direction because also I was raised by children, baby boomers and like that's a whole other like no mindfulness, none at all, and, like, they were seriously products of their generation, like, my parents hoarded cans because their parents lived through the depression, and, like, it's just I'm having you have to learn these things for yourself when you hit a certain age. Um, yeah, it's crazy. Uh-uh. No, 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 no. Yeah, wait. That is what I meant. How can anyone say that another person No, 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 I don't believe they can, and nobody gets to tell me what I am, like if I'm a real pagan or a real witch or whatever. I don't like you don't even know me. And I would never do that to somebody else. And I'll get mad if I hear people doing it to each other because it's not cool. But yeah, no, nobody can do that. I agree. But it comes in plastic. Yeah, that's my yeah. Everything's plastic. And yes, you can recycle, but not everything is recyclable. And oh, That's awesome. I really wish that they would stop using plastic bags in the stores here where I live, but we're usually one of the last people to jump on board anything here in North Carolina. So we're the first in flight and first in freedom, but last in just about everything else. So I don't know when that's going to happen. I do have bags in the car. I really like shopping. We call it Lidl, but I know it's Lidl. I really like shopping there because I'm forced to bring in my own bags because I'll forget. But there I always remember because I have to. Otherwise, I pay for them. I agree. We have to do whatever. We have to strive to do better and do the best we can in any given situation. I agree. That's like I said, that was kind of my how I summed up my conversation with my girlfriends. I was just like, we just got to do the best we can because there's no, it's impossible to be perfect. And I get to decide what the best is, what that looks like for me, and vice versa. Can I do a video on my crystals? Um, aw, thank you, sweetheart. um, yeah, I have done many videos on crystals, and I always show my own crystals in the videos. I did do one video where I was talking about breaking the crystal rules, where I went around and showed the bulk of my collection. And I've done one where I was just kind of sitting around and chatting. I can talk about my crystals all day long. But I do have some videos up on my channel already. I think there's a playlist crystals that has like all of them in there. But I have been thinking it's been a long time since I did a video on crystals, and um, I need to do more. And I just haven't. I've been caught up in other stuff. Basically, yeah, I know South Carolina, North Carolina. You know, every place has its good stuff, but I've lived in North Carolina a long time. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the bad stuff. And I don't want to deal with hurricanes anymore. I live right on the coast. I the recycle center. Look at see, that's what I worry about. Don't tell me stuff like that. That's what I worry about. I worry that I'm putting stuff out for recycle and you're not even recycling it. This is my worry with charities. I used to worry about charities, but then I just gave it up to Spirit and I was like, if they're doing something weird with my money, I gave it with the full intention that it was going to be used for something good. So, but that's harder with recycling. I had the good intention to recycle, but it didn't actually get recycled. It doesn't work quite the same to me personally, but that yeah, that 4-ton men hanging on the porch. Yeah, disgusting. It's not cool. I can't. I've lived in North Carolina. I was born at Camp Lejeune, lived here till I was 11, moved to Okinawa, lived there till I was 18, basically, moved back here, and have been here ever since. And I'm 41, so I'm about tired of it. Oh, Amber Moon, oh, Charlie. Um, we were supposed to be talking. You didn't miss it, really. As I said before, Ashley Michelle had an emergency. Nothing. It was just a mundane, everyday life thing came up, and she needed to take care of it right then. So we're going to reschedule and do the talk about working with angels another time. We're going to figure it out tomorrow, probably. So welcome to the chat, and you didn't miss much. We've just been chatting. It's been nearly an hour, and I didn't think that was going to happen. So I'm probably going to get off in a little bit because you guys have listened to me ramble on for long enough. Anybody have anything they want to throw out there quickly before we leave? You know, it's telling me there's nobody in the chat, and though I can see all of you are there. We won't be talking about angels tomorrow, but we will be tomorrow. I'm going to talk to Ashley Michelle and figure out when we're going to reschedule to do the live, and then we'll talk about working with angels. 19? Says 19, hun. What? Oh, I see. I know, but on mine, it doesn't say, it says 0. I don't know why. I know normally when I'm watching someone else's, it'll say, but it says 0. I don't know. It's not showing. Oh, wait. I was looking in the wrong place. This is my first time doing a live on my computer too. Big Dipper Wax Works was where we were getting it. I think we got it somewhere else last time. No, maybe we still got it there. This doesn't look. No, I swear he got it somewhere else last time, and I don't know. My husband, he's the deal finder, and but I get these big bags of the little pellets because they melt much easier. I used to get the big bricks, but they take forever to melt down when you go to use them. This stuff, I love this. And not only do I make my candles out of it and like my altar charms and, whatever. I use it, I make my own body cream. I use it in that. I was using it in my deodorant too, but like I said, I can't. And it smelled so good. It was so nice. It worked really good. But then after about a week or a week and a half of using it, I broke out in these huge, they look like heat rashes all in my armpits, and I just can't use it. But yeah, I love beeswax. I do like Big Dipper wax, but I think the last time my husband had found it cheaper somewhere else, and I don't remember where that was. I'm sorry. Do I associate stones with angels? I do. And I do get that information from like other people, but and again, I don't want to get too much into the whole angel thing, but I have been working with angels for like a decade, actively working with them, and probably longer than that, but like actively calling them in and working with them. And the energies that I feel, even though it's not necessarily just one type of energy that you feel, like different angels will feel different, but I do definitely find that a lot of times when the people who say they know about crystals say this crystal works with angels, that I can see that. I can see how that would, the energies very much in alignment. So like Dambarite is one that's associated with angels, and I'm getting a Celestite is associated with angels. I would imagine that Angelite is, but I can't remember that off the top of my head. And Seraphonite. Those are the three. Dambarite, Seraphonite, and Celestite are the three that automatically jump to mind when I think about crystals and working with angels. Although I feel like amethyst also. Some crystals are more earthy, I guess, but I definitely feel like amethyst is one that it has sort of angelic energies or vibrations with it as well. I don't know if it was right after I shaved or not when I had that reaction. Maybe, because I did use it for like a week and a half, but I just thought it took that long before, even though you wash it off, every day or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it reacted with my sensitive skin after shaving or something. I don't know. I might try it again because I really did love that stupid deodorant. Yeah, mine, it was, I have it right here, actually. I can tell you exactly what is in it. But I used arrowroot instead of cornstarch, but for the same purpose. Let's see, where's my beauty? Come on. What is this? Come on. Yeah, arrowroot. Oh no, baking soda too. So arrowroot, baking soda, coconut oil, shea butter, and then whatever essential oils. And for whatever reason, I broke out. Even though I use everything that is on that list and other concoctions, because like I said, I like to make a lot of my own beauty products or whatever. It's cool. It's about time to wrap it up, honestly. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for coming and seeing me, because I really didn't know if anybody was going to show up and if you were going to stay once you realized that this was not the live you were looking for. But yeah, I've had a really good time hanging out with you guys. And like I said, as soon as Ashley and I figure out when we can actually do the live, I will put an ad up on the channel and let you guys know. And until next time, much love and gratitude.